Howdy guys, AutoEdits Jason here, and today in the garage we're going to be working on Large Marge again, and I'm going to be showing you the finishing touches of the Wilwood drum to disc brake conversion for the early Mustangs. Now this is one of the best kits on the market, and when I did the install 4 years ago, I never finished the parking brake cable setup to tie into the stock pedal, the parking brake actuation pedal. And I have the really easy fix or a setup for that that's just gonna blow your mind and just make this an absolute no-brainer for you guys. Come on in, let me show you what even prompted this little video. Now I was just doing some basic repair. I have about 1,000 miles on the Mustang now, and this axle seal was leaking inside the back here. And you wanna know a quick way of knowing if your axle seal is leaking? Well, the inside of your wheel will look like this. There's a pretty healthy dose of gear oil inside there, and you know the pinion spins this way, so it's gonna naturally, that and my right turns, I was bolder with right turns, I'm sportier with those, so that flings oil to the driver's side of the axle tubing, and it was leaking out. Now, so that was definitely a problem, and something I wanted to do, so I was pulling this apart, and I thought, oh, you know what? I never showed you guys how I finished off the parking brake system in this thing, and it's so easy, and it kind of gotten into my head about it for years. You know how I struggled over this, the length of this project, but it was such an easy fix to seal the deal on this. So let me just do a quick basics. I'll show you, I'll put a link to the video where I actually did the install in the description, but let's just pull the caliper off. Now, if you guys don't remember, I have the Wilwood 6-piston big Pro Touring brakes in the front, the 4 pistons in the rear. I've been extraordinarily happy with them. And this drum to disc brake conversion on this vehicle is just a really, really solid, amazing upgrade. So the basic setup is a drum brake inside of your disc brake, and this is your parking brake. And then you'll have the drum mechanism that has a cable from both sides that runs to the stock parking brake. In this year Mustang, you have a foot pedal that actually activates it. I think in the early 60s, you had an actual handle that pulled and activated the parking brake. So figuring out this thing was actually just one of those things that took a while, and then I went, oh, why don't I just do this one little hack, and it worked perfectly. Now, one of the things I want to point out now is that this was all covered in gear oil when I got this apart. And so I've been now cleaning, like this brake rotor was just absolutely filled inside here, and you could actually see where the drum brake, these shoes here, the parking brake, it activates and holds this thing. And I've been always, even with this leaking and completely soaked, I've been really impressed with how the parking brake really just works. I'll demonstrate it in a little bit, but right now that just gives you the basics. You can see about 1,000 miles of wear on this. I'm still in the process of cleaning, so that's a bit of, I'm actually having a fun time. Like if you guys watched that video where I helped my neighbor Garrett do the brakes on his little Toyota Tacoma. Good. We had fun testing the difference between brake cleaner, so I've been doing a little bit of brake cleaner, and then this parts cleaner and degreaser. Both of these are from Lucas, but I think all of the different brands have separate things, and it's been really interesting to test them two side by side. And what I'm finding is that the brake cleaner is a little bit more aggressive towards just like the fingerprints and things like that. Once I get this back on, I'll show you guys. And but then I used the degreaser, and I just shot it down in the vents and used it, and that was what I needed to get like baked on gear oil out of this thing. So it's been fascinating to see the difference between the two. I'm pretty sure that I'm liking this one as an overall a little bit better, and this can's a little bit larger and lasts a little bit longer. So I'm digging this stuff right now, big time. So for these shoes right here, to get all the grease off of these things, I just sprayed these things down with quite a bit of the degreaser. Everything's looking brand spanking new in there. It was kind of a mess. So we're golden now. So now let's get the rotor back on. So this has been a really good upgrade. So I'm really thrilled to be actually showing you guys the finishing touches on how to get this dialed and done. So what we'll do for now is I'll just go ahead and get the caliper back on here, back where it belongs. While we're here, let me show you the pads that came out of here at about 1,000 miles. This is where I really actually used the brake clean, and they look like they're ready to rock. So we're going to put them back in, and we'll see how that goes. That's an easy fix if I do need to get more. Usually once you saturate your brake pads with gear oil, you're in trouble, but the thing actually still performed fantastic. So I actually have zero problems with the performance on this thing. So we'll put that in, capture our pads in. Let's go ahead and button this up. Now this one I learned just goes snug there. And that's it. Ooh, let's clean while we're here. Oh no, we're gonna get in trouble. All right, you guys come on down here. All right, welcome to the Naughty Bits under Large Marge here. So this is the basic parking brake layout. Now these are the two independent cables that run to the rear. You run both those cables, one over the top and capture them both with an L clamp back there. They come together, they run down the floor pan up into here. And then here you would have this little bulkhead. These have adjustable knurled knobs here so you could adjust independently. And the only real place where things I had to change is this little block right here. This equalizing block comes threaded from Wilwood for a smaller diameter threaded shaft. Now this is the stock parking brake thing. Now, if you remember on your stock Mustangs, they're all the early Mustangs, they have, this comes and then it runs a cable that goes across the bottom of the car and then to the back independently to both. So it has this long, complicated, it's not complicated, it's just an awkward pull, and then it pulls two things, it goes across. I didn't have that room. I have big exhaust and a lot of stuff going on down here that I wanted to keep tight. So I ran them both right down the floor pan here. This is a perfect little spot to grab that. So what I do is I just drilled out the center of this thing so that it just slid on this, and then I used these little nuts here and I just jam nutted into place, and then I use this similar setup here, two nuts jammed together to give me a little bit of actuation. But here, right here is where the magic happens. and really, you're gonna just go, oh man, but it's really, really an easy way to get this done. So this right here is the stock hole where this cable came out of the floor and from the pedal, the parking brake pedal, and would go here and then run across to that pull system that would spread across the bottom of the car. So all I did was just mimic that by using a step bit, drilled a hole, and then used an angle grinder and a little disc and just cut a little tab here, slid the cable through, literally just turned the corner instead of going straight across here, and then that now heads down here. Little slight modification by drilling out this little block right here so it just can be adjusted here, and then that's it. Boom, you now have the Wilwood parking brake for your early Mustangs. This will work all the way to 65, 64 and a half, or whatever, because it's a similar setup down here. So this handles that. I mean, it just is so, so cool to have it done just like that. And then you get all of that braking confidence in the back, and then you have a practical parking brake. I can't tell you how many high-end cars I see with stick shift transmissions and no parking brake, no excuse. If you're gonna put all this kind of effort into it, just do this. Handle. All right. All right, so for the inside of the wheel, I'm gonna definitely use the degreaser. And you can just see that cutting right through. I don't know, do you guys have a rag system? I have multiple levels of rags in my garage. So this one is phasing its way to scummy rag where it's like fully wasted. But right now I don't wanna use a fresh rag to get all this deep gunk, and then I have clean rags to do my final stuff. So I have a hierarchy of rags in the garage, as you guys probably would guess a weirdo like me would have. There you go, got the grease out of there, and then we'll come in with a little bit of the speed wax. And if you notice, it's not a perfectly clean rag, but it's a clean enough rag to do a little bit of polish. I know, you didn't watch this channel and think I was normal, did you? Because I'm not. All right, we'll get this mounted up. Buenos noches. All right, so we'll pull this thing out and put it in neutral. Turn it off so we can actually talk, but I love hearing this thing. We'll set the parking brake, release the brake, and there you go. I even have that door open, so it's high consequences. If it rolls backwards, it's gonna rip that off on the truck, but there you go. I trust it that much. So there you go. Vehicle's in neutral, brake holds it. I don't know what this angle is, but it's steep enough to know that it's gonna hold this thing. So there you go. Wilwood parking brake for the drum to disc conversion, done. Thank you so much for watching. I'll try to crank out a bunch more videos, and until next time, enjoy your drive. I think I'm gonna go drive this thing.